So here we are in the famous 44th Ward, but we're taking a different view of it. We're looking at it from the alleys. And the reason we're talking about alleys today is really about sanitation and about rodent control. With me today is our ward superintendent, who you've probably seen in our blocks and our alleys for the last 3 or 4 years, Mike Restivo. He's going to give you a little primer we call Rodent Control 101, and how we can all work together to reduce the rodent population in our neighborhood. We get a lot of calls on this issue, so we thought we'd give a little primer about how we can all work together to make our ward cleaner and safer. Mike, take it away.
Well, we do get a lot of complaints on rodents here in the ward. One of the reasons is it's a highly densely populated ward. There's a lot of dogs, there's a lot of garbage, restaurants and everything. We all have to get together and work together and keep it clean. Garbage is an issue, overflowing containers. A big issue are the amount of dogs that are here in the ward, probably more than any other ward. People who walk their dogs must have the doggy bags, pick up after their dog. But believe it or not, it's the #1 source of protein for the rodents. And so we have to keep an already populated area from getting larger. One of the reasons you may see added rodent activity is the amount of streets that are being dug into. Every time that, whether they're taking down a house for a rebuild or they're going in and doing these sewer projects, these badly needed sewer projects, that disrupts not only that area but a 2-block radius. So you may see them on the run looking for a new home. It's going to be, we're coming into winter time, so they do hibernate. But it is very important to keep, along with us baiting your alleys, is to keep your area around your container as well. Whether you have a city pickup or private containers, it is your responsibility to pick up around the container. Whether it gets blown out of there, somebody throws a doggy bag at it, it should be picked up off the ground. And cut any weeds that you have, pick up anything that's stacked, because it's all harborage. Rats love to get in the nooks and crannies to keep to keep themselves concealed.
So Mike, if a constituent has a problem with rodents in their alley or in their yard, what do?
They call your office.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. And then the Alderman's, your office directs it to the right place, which goes to rodent control. If there's a sanitation issue, such as overflows, if it's a chronic issue, we may get it couldn't get to the point where we have to ticket them, which we don't really care to do all that often.
We do make appointments with rodent control too.
Rodent control
they
will
need
come
access
out
to the house and
That's
the
right.
backyard and such.
If you leave your phone number, we could set up an appointment, and they're pretty good at coming at the time. They're better than the cable company, I think. But they'll come in within that window of time, and they'll do a baiting. They'll tell you what you may need. If you're in an area where there's pets or whatever, they could let you know that they're going to bait at this time, and really work on site with your own contracted
Private.
yeah.
So what I learned in this job, and I learned a lot, but one thing I learned is that rodents are basically blind, and that the food source is within 75 feet of where the spotting is at.
They're blind. They have good.
Yeah.
They smell.
Yeah.
That's where they can smell. They have noses that are like dogs, and they pretty much feel with their whiskers through every little thing. And you've always heard how a rat could fit through a hole the size of a quarter. Now, if you have any containers in your alley, or if your garbage container, you discover that there's holes in there. Some of them on the top are made by squirrels. Some of them on the bottom. A lot of the squirrels make those holes, but the rats get right in there and reap the benefits of them. Rats can jump, they can climb. It's not a great subject for many people, but actually, if they had opposable thumbs, they would be unstoppable.
So if there is a damaged cart, we again call our
absolutely.
office 311, get it on record. Normally there's a replacement time generally is?
It goes it's between two days and 2 weeks, depending on. A lot of times they're in between cart. They order new carts from the company and everything. It all depends on their deliveries there. But yeah, so you get a hole in your cart, the wheels fall off or anything, call either the Alderman's office or 311. Ask for a replacement cart, damaged cart. You know, that's how it's put in as a damage.
And last but not least, we go down alleys. This is a perfect alley. There's no overflowing. It looks like it's a pretty well maintained alley. Obviously, there's little improvements that could be done. But what we're seeing is that when it's overflowing, or people are not breaking down their boxes, and you know, it really the lids off these things really help the rodents, right?
Right. It doesn't take much for a rodent, and even with the dogs, after you pick up after your dog, you never really pick up everything from it, and it doesn't take that much for them to survive. A little bit of, if you have water sources, make sure not only for the mosquitoes, but for rodents also. They'll come in and do that. And if they do call rodent control, they will personalize their service as to your needs. If you have a small dog, large dog, whatever, and from what I understand, a little bit, it's not going to upset anything.
And I understand that is part of being a taxpayer, so there's not an additional charge for rodent control to come to you.
There's not an additional charge. They'll let you know if you have a problem that's more inside the house. When you have a home, if you're in a larger apartment complex, you should have your own exterminator on site anyway. Just to do monthlies, they have these boxes and things that they put out in the problem areas.
I have a question.
Most important though is just pick up after your dog and keep the garbage area clean.
So, Mike, why does rodent control stuff newspaper inside of burrows that they baited?
It's a good question. One of the reasons is that rodents, believe it or not, do not like eating dirty food. So it's to keep the poison clean. 2, it's to let everyone know what was just recently baited. And 3, if that paper comes out of the hole, it's only coming out because something's pushing it out.